I think this player the following year, at one point in time, there was a little bit of a rift between two players in the group chat, and his response as a neutral person involved with the altercation was he kicked everybody but himself out of the group chat. Night Pitch, episode 21. Justin Wick. He's Evan Johnson. Evan, what is your favorite position on the field to play and to watch, and why?
I mean, okay, this might get me into trouble, but I'm going to say...
Nice.
Yeah. This might get me into trouble because I do work with pitchers, but catchers.
No, yeah, I mean, that. All right, okay. I hadn't even really considered my thought yet, but yeah. Well, I mean, talk about the most put together people on the diamond, though.
Yeah.
Like Buster Posey was just hired as like the, title, head honcho, baseball development president for the San Francisco Giants. You get to have all of the pitcher minds that he worked with as a catcher. Of course, him being a hitter, that means he knows how everything else flows. I think it's very difficult to go against catcher in that context. My thought was, especially at the higher levels, right fielders, because typically they have the best glove in the outfield. Like the traditional alignment, your fastest guy's in center. Or I'm sorry. Fastest guy's in center, best glove is in left, because that's the pull side for right-handed hitters.
Your arm
and
is in
typically
right.
Your better arm is in right because they're the one throwing it across the diamond. I like the right fielders from that persona, because I think that there's something to be said about the attitude of somebody that just has an absolute hose and is not a pitcher. I'm thinking more of a collective, the type of person that you encounter. I like your rationality for catcher. I'll also stand behind, a little bit of attitude with a right fielder that's got cannon that can let something loose.
Yeah. My favorite outfielders, I've always been the outfielders that are not afraid to let it rip.
Yeah.
Whether it's at a wall trying to catch a ball or trying to throw somebody out. One of the two. They're just the most aggressive outfielder in the world. They're really fun to watch.
That also reminds me, too, my favorite situation to watch as a fan, probably across the board, is fewer than 2 outs and a runner on third base and nowhere else. Because, I mean, you have in your mind, if you're an outfielder, a sacrifice fly situation, you're going to catch it, and your one job is to get the dude out of home.
You want it. You want him to hit a fly ball right where you're standing.
Yes. Like I remember when I was playing at younger ages going, this is the dream scenario, because you don't need to really worry about hitting a cutoff man because no other base runner is going to move up a base. That doesn't mean you shouldn't hit a cutoff man, but the coolest situations are when you're just able to absolutely let it eat from the warning track because you realize there are no repercussions elsewhere on the diamond.
One of my pet peeves that I see outfielders do, and I see this all the time, it's like, I didn't play outfield at a high level, okay? But one of my favorite things to do as an outfielder was when I did get that situation where I knew I was going to catch and throw, I would be like 5 steps behind the ball.
Yeah.
And like sprint and run and catch it on the run and let it rip. I see outfielders like camp on the spot it's going to land and then try to get their momentum going to throw after. I'm like, aren't you excited to try to hose this guy? Why not take the Jim Edmonds like 2 or 3 steps behind? Let it rip,
And you just turn it into the absolute janitor throw of just letting it go.
Yeah, that's what I would love to do.
Another situation too is when you have runner on second base with only on second with fewer than 2 outs, and you realize that they could very well be tagging up to third. I can remember a play growing up. This was Yasiel Puig when he was with the Dodgers. Similar sacrifice fly situation. He's on the right field warning track, runner from second trying to tag up to third. Denver, Colorado, the ball flies out really well because of the elevation there. But to counteract this, the outfield is huge. So the dimensions are actually enormous at Coors Field. You might not know that because people talk about it being a hitter's park. It plays big and it plays small. That's just the way it is. A lot of grass in the outfield. So this means Puig has to absolutely unload this thing.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, did not hit a cutoff man, did not hit it on a hop, literally from his glove to the third baseman's glove across the entire diamond. One of that made me want to play outfield, honestly. So I think about the persona that exists. I'll tie this back to the story that we started off with. What's your favorite position? Persona wise, somebody with a hose that isn't a pitcher is a really cool person to interact with. I want to pose this on the counter side. Least favorite.
Okay.
Least favorite position.
Before we go to least favorite, I want to say to what you said. One of my favorite things to watch is a third baseman who just has an absolute cannon.
Yeah.
Like a ball deep in like down the line where he has to play the backhand and then just plants and throws an absolute dart across the diamond. That's a cool thing to watch. Or the dudes who can make their own run style. Coming in on the ball. That's a cool one too. Catchers, man. They're my favorite. I mean, it's easy favorite because they work as hard. I mean, they work harder than anybody else. Or I mean, if you have a good one, they do. But that's I guess as a catcher, if you aren't that guy, then you don't catch. Like if you don't work harder than everybody else, you don't catch. It's like required to be good at that position.
The amount of bullpens that you have to catch on top of that too. If you look at like a traditional college practice, I mean, you have that many pitchers that you need to work through. And naturally speaking, I mean, in a lot of situations, catchers just aren't going to be able to get as many swings during practice because of their demands behind the plate.
Oh yeah.
How they make up for it too. And when you see them, like when you see the catcher that catches your bullpen showing up 20 minutes before practice, getting extra swings in, or staying after, getting extra swings in, realizing they're making up for the lost time because they were catching you. That's a very easy way of, I'm not messing with that dude whatsoever. The instant rapport of that's what you're able to create. I'm not trying to suggest there's an opposite. Yes. And it's amazing to try to piece together, I mean, the different personas, and I mean, not that you want to put people into boxes, but what are the stereotypes of the positions around the diamond? You know, we've already covered the attitude you can carry yourself with as a position player that can throw the hell out of the baseball. I don't want to call out middle infielders for being pretentious because that's not very fair. But for the sake of that, you know, I'm thinking the catcher mentality and then the second baseman mentality. I know I don't want to speak poorly about infielders because they make plays.
I get it though, because the infielders, it's like it's almost like if you're a middle infielder and you're really good at it, you almost have that right to just be a little bit more arrogant about the way you do stuff. As a catcher, even though your skill level and what you do defensively may be higher, it's just you can't afford the extra effort to try to be arrogant as a catcher. Also, nobody responds to an arrogant catcher well. Nobody does. It's like, but a middle infielder who is, it's like nobody ever worries about it. It's like, oh, you just made like a diving play in the 6 hole and threw him out. Like, that's cool. Go ahead. Be cool.
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing too. How much does the catcher's gear itself kind of shape the persona? Because you can't really see a catcher. I mean, yes, you can, and you can make out. I mean, Salvador Perez is huge, for example. You're going to be able to piece together who this person is. But when you look at the front-facing side of, all right, so a middle infielder, you can point them out very easily. They're very physically identifiable. Typically, some of the more athletic people on the field, just because you need to have the agility to be able to turn a double play to stand there. Mm-hmm. Body type wise, you know, your third baseman and your first baseman are typically your bigger power hitter type of models. That's not that it's always the case, but you know, in order to cover the middle infield, I feel like that's kind of the more pretentious type of persona that exists. It's not to accuse everybody. There's a lot of hardworking middle infielders out there, I know, but no, I think that kind of covers it across the board. Center fielders, I think you might be able to loop into that middle infielder category. Does that sound about right?
100%.
Yeah,
they give off that same vibe. The one player who always goes under the radar, usually. Okay, I'm gonna say not always, but that's the first baseman.
Yeah,
first basemen are usually pretty meek, and you know it when you see them too. You're like, yep, that guy plays first base. He might be just as tall as your center fielder, but you know exactly, or your catcher or a pitcher, but you know, you're like, yep, that guy plays first base.
Like, how crazy is it the higher levels you get to? Like, I would like to do this of, let's say there's a team getting off the bus and you just have a lineup card and you're looking at the numbers and you're guessing what position they are based on how they walk off the bus. Not
We need to
only
do that
body
as a
type, but
segment,
also
man.
demeanor.
We need to sit in front of a bus unloading and then try to guess, take turns guessing which player is what, and then ask them, and if we get it right, we get a point.
That's actually fantastic. I'm going to go to Youngstown State. You guys open the season at Baylor. You're going to
Yes.
see me with a clipboard, and I'm going to walk right up to you and make that work. We'll see how it goes.
Yes. This is a quiz you on the Youngstown State
Oh,
players.
man.
See if you can guess what
I
position they are.
feel, yeah, this will be a good little bridge as far as we've kind of shaped, for any viewer that's tuning in at this point. There are inherent character traits and different characterizations that we just illustrated that kind of follow positions. That's not to say everybody fits into the mold, but body type will replicate this. A lot of times the persona very much replicates the style of play that people put together. That means there's a lot of differences in knowing your role. That when you all of a sudden you're put into a clubhouse of a bunch of alpha males at a higher level of baseball, and now you recognize these are the personas that make up those different clientele when you're sharing lockers with people. So in this 21st century that we live in, there is a dear thing known as group text message chats, which for anybody tuning in, I'm going to venture to guess there is a strong chance that you are a member of a group chat. Whether it be a baseball-related one, probably the case, that's our audience, or my family has one. A lot of different places have one. Now, it's very easy on one-on-one text messaging to understand that your message is only going to one person. I send a message to Evan. I know exactly what kind of style he can expect. I'm allowed to be myself. All of a sudden, if we throw another person into the fold, Evan and I can still have the normal exchanges. The other person would kind of be the outsider. Now, all of a sudden, picture you're walking into... you're going into the gym. Let's just say you know nobody at the gym, and they're all a bunch of hardos, which is usually the case at higher level baseball. Let's call it what it is. Let's say all of a sudden you get thrown into a conversation with all 20 of them, but you can't see their face. You can't speak to them verbally, and you're forced to encode a message that is typed out and sent across the board with 20 people. Have you ever had somebody that just didn't know how to handle themselves in a group
100%.
chat?
We both did. You know exactly who we were thinking.
I
the
have a
same
person
guy.
in mind. I know. I love him to death. I know.
Long story short, this guy got kicked out of the group chat within the first. What was it? Was it the first day?
Was it?
He got
I think it was like
we
within
all
the first
kicked him
2
out of the group
hours.
chat the first 2 hours. That's
He
impressive.
earned it
Really,
back, though.
that's impressive.
I don't want to disclose the name because I really don't want to badmouth this person, but I will say this. There's a strong chance they're tuning into this. They know who they are, and they earned their way back in like never before.
Oh yeah, they did. It was fun. It was fun. Nobody was
How
mad
do
at
we
him. We just
describe
did it
this?
out of he deserved
Yeah.
it.
And I mean, I know that we're kind of sharing inside stories on this. Anybody tuning in, it was essentially he didn't really know when to turn it off.
Mhm.
Like he felt like he was responding to everybody individually, and he was trying to be funny, and he was new to the team, and like there were returning players that were like, "Dude, who the hell are you?" There's new players that were like, "Are you a returner? You're carrying yourself like you are." So it was just mass confusion. I think this player the following year, at one point in time, there was a little bit of a rift between 2 players in the group chat, and his response as a neutral person involved with the altercation was he kicked everybody but himself out of the group chat. So now you know for certain we're on the same page with who this person was. But no, I want to turn this into more of an informing type of thing because it's difficult to recognize this, and it's sometimes difficult to really know how do you carry yourself in a group of a lot of people that, traditionally speaking, the higher up you get into baseball, let's say you're playing Division I baseball right now, there's a strong chance that every single player on your team was the best player on their high school team. That's just the way it goes. It's cutthroat. They continue to progress through. So if you are the best player on your team at any level, you're able to carry yourself with a little bit of conviction. You're able to stick your chest out just a little bit higher, and whether or not you act upon it arrogantly or gracefully or anywhere in between, you're used to being the man. You're used to having the spotlight on you. The higher up you go, more people have had that spotlight. Now you're all together. Now, there can't be multiple best players on the team. The group chat comes into play because you need to find a way to really gracefully manage yourself by recognizing I know what it's like to be in the spotlight before, but now I need to carry myself knowing that I'm able to subside, let this thing go. So, is there a strategy in mind, especially for anybody tuning in? Let's say somebody doesn't necessarily know what the traditional culture might be like. Now they're at a more refined level of baseball. If you had to put like the manual together of, let's say there's the 10 commandments of baseball group chat etiquette, what would you say some of those bullet points would be?
Oh man.
It's so nuanced. I know. Now that I think about this, it's very much a
if
case
you
by
had
case thing.
Well, I guess it just depends on what stands out. If you're the guy that's like always
Yeah.
putting in messages after message and like trying to respond to every message that comes through, it's like you suddenly become the leader of the group chat. Like you send something in, somebody's gonna, this guy's gonna say something or do something.
Yeah. Which it's good to have a couple of those, actually, though.
It is because the worst feeling ever is when you put something in a group and nobody responds, nobody says anything to it.
It's just no matter what. When you're the quiet guy in the group chat and you send something and you get nothing, it's like you just got to retreat back into your shell.
Yeah, dude. That's the worst feeling.
Man.
Timing,
I know
timing
that I
is
was
important.
traditionally, yeah, that's a good point. And I think the other side of it too is when you respond back to somebody, I'll at least kind of attest to my role of I was never very outspoken. I would kind of text people individually just because I felt like it was more direct face to face. There's a reason this show is just Evan and I and usually a guest as opposed to a panel of 20 people because one, it's easier to operate like that. And two, we want to have more in-depth conversation. And three, crowds of people can be overwhelming. Anyways, I think about different group chat scenarios of timeliness of if you fire something off and you're the quiet guy. I would very much not send things very often. I would kind of take a seat back. I would read everything. Like, I mean, there wasn't a single message that I didn't read just because I like being involved, like being in the know. It's a really cool source of news, something that people can be enthusiastic about. I would sit back in the wings and then it would almost be as if people would kind of forget about you. Not that they would forget, but you're not an active voice in it. So all of a sudden, when you do put something in there, it gets a lot more attention. It's a lot more recognizable. Or when you do something in person that somebody then kind of calls you out about or kind of addresses or tries to give you some credit, your message carries a little bit more weight. So I think that for anybody that's maybe unfamiliar, let's say there's an incoming college freshman or somebody that's new to a new program, there's two options to do this, which one is just to be unapologetically yourself, which I agree across the board, no matter what that is, be you. There's a reason we're on this earth. It's to own who we are as people. But if you're a little bit uncomfortable, it's okay to observe. And sometimes that can make your messaging even more important because you don't need to be in the spotlight. But that means when you inevitably are, that spotlight might be a lot brighter than you otherwise might expect.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes it can be overwhelming as a freshman because all the returners will go through as they'll put in and this happens every year, the beginning of the year. It's like all the kids who were there last year will put in all the stuff and it's just like inside jokes and everything. And you feel out of the loop. Yeah. But what they're trying to do is loop people in to talk in that chat, the new people. So yeah. Just let it rip.
Well, and that's an interesting point too, of especially if you are a returning player. And this is something that I think that, we view things as a rite of passage of, all right, let's say you've been at this college team for 3 years, or you've been under the same coach for an extended period of time. You know the nuance, you know what to expect. Take that as an opportunity to welcome the new people in, because rather than gatekeeping the secrets, find a way to take everything that's an inside joke, use it as an informing tool to get other people involved. And now not only are you going to stand out as a very revered person that was looking out for your teammates, but it's also going to be that much more fun because now everybody knows what's going on. So there's an educational component to that of, if you want to lead a team, find a way to lead the group chat, but do it by keeping other people involved and engaged rather than pursuing it for like self-centered pursuits. Do it to help everybody. And I think that there's a lot to be said on that kind of thing. Is there any like disastrous stories? I want to share one in particular. I remember a team that I played on. It was very commonplace that rather than having official messaging released by the coaching staff, it would be one player was pulled aside by a coach and that coach would say, hey, put this in the group chat. Yeah. And so it just turns into like, all right, well, is this an official thing or not? So all of a sudden, let's say there's the kid that doesn't shut up in the group chat. Now all of a sudden, the coach has told him something, saying, "Hey guys, we're practicing at 4:30 in the morning. We need to go." Maybe it's true. We don't know. But I think about, there's a responsibility as a coach too. And I mean, the thing that I insist upon is there are enough mind games that exist in the game of baseball to begin with that poor communication just is not a fun experience for anybody involved, especially when you have a bunch of alpha males gathered together. So I think that there's an important bit there, Evan. I'm sure you've got this cracked because you're the most attentive coach that I know, or certainly one of at the top of the damn list. I want to kind of take you as a coach now. Is there any strategies that you learned as a player, being a very attentive person in every group chat you and I were involved in? You were always fantastic. Taking that, knowing where you're at now, is there certain things that you learned there that has helped you as a coach now just improve communication across the board?
Well, it's different because now you can't, like, there's some times where I'm not allowed to put things in there.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, if you want to play, like, I'll say, hey, so-and-so, put this in the group chat saying that I'll be at the indoor between these hours. Or like, I have to do that. But like, we would never schedule a real practice based off of the group chat. That's just a terrible strategy.
Yes. Yeah, I've been in settings where that's happened before, and it just throws everybody.
It doesn't work,
sure.
Especially when it's the guy who's always joking around. And it's a morning practice. Nobody believes you. You have a lift at 4 a.m. and it's real.
And it might be true. And now nobody knows.
There's but now it's like whenever I'm in a group chat, the group chat is mostly quiet unless I put something in there. Yeah. That's just the whole thing. So it's like you get a little bit disconnected, but you can utilize the players group chat to get messages out that people will respond to with a little bit more looseness, or like they don't have to be as structured. If you want to put something in there that's just fun or playful or whatever it is, you can utilize the players to do that for you. I did have a pretty bad story with it when I was a player. Just the worst possible scenario for both parties. It was so bad. I won't name what team I was on, won't name anybody, but it is a funny story. We had these stats that our pitching coach would put into a group chat with all the players. And it was a little bit more loose, it was a more loose of a group chat. And like one of the Latin guys on our team who doesn't speak English very well thought there was a problem with the stats. And he expressed that to me. He was like, I think there's a problem with the stats. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put it in the group chat back in as a reply that there's something wrong with these stats. Well, the message from the pitching coach came back after that in a manner that was like defensive about how the stats were right. But I thought but he had phrased it so aggressively about the stats being right. I wasn't even doing this for myself. I was just doing this for somebody else.
Oh, no.
But he had phrased it so aggressively that the stats were right that I thought that it wasn't real, that he had to be messing with me. So I was like, okay, he's just trying to be funny. Let me try to be funny back.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So then I mess with him back because I think he's messing with me. So then we get to the field and we're in the outfield meeting before we throw, and he is livid. And it's like taking me all by surprise. I'm like I didn't even know what to say. And he starts freaking out in front of all the pitchers, just like calling.
Was he like calling out you? Like,
oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody would have known it was you, but did he use your name?
Oh, yeah. No, like right away singled me out and then started using like words that would probably that you probably shouldn't use on the air directly at me in that scenario because he was so mad. And me, I'm just like kind of in between trying to figure out how to navigate the situation because I didn't intend to be rude. I thought he was doing something else. But the kicker was all the other pitchers thought the same thing as I did. So everybody, when we got to that meeting, was like, what is going on with this guy?
Mm.
So then at the end of it, he tries to, like, it was brutal. He just attacked me for like 15 minutes. And then at the end, he tried to reel back and like make everything funny again because he realized, I think he realized in that moment that he screwed up. So he goes, all right, all in favor of, everybody raise your hand if you're in favor of kicking Evan out of the group chat for the next week. And nobody raised their hands, dude. Not a single person.
No, what does he do?
And
like, what do you do as the coach at that point?
It was the most awkward thing because he goes, all right, now everybody, because just basically verbally just went after me for like 20 minutes and then says, how about, what do you guys think? Should we kick him from the chat? Wow. Nobody raises their hand. So one of my buddies on the team who thought he was pretty funny, after like 5 seconds of nobody raising their hand, he just shoots his hand up and he starts laughing and he goes, me. That's it. So then like 10 minutes later, once it all dissolves, I get apologized to for that whole situation going down. And I was and that was just one thing where I was like, it was early in the morning. I had a kid ask me a question. I was like, oh, I'm just going to reply in the group chat.
You're looking out for somebody.
I was like, I'm just going to reply in the group chat and see what's up. Oh, he's messing with me. Okay, so let me mess with him back. Can't be real. Never mind, it was. Just caught the dude on a bad day, apparently.
Well, and that's amazing, too, because if he didn't have that face-to-face moment of nobody raising their hand, like, let's say he didn't do that and then he just walked away, like, your credibility went through the roof over his own fallacy of trying to attempt to gain rapport with your teammates, and they stood behind you because they knew you were right, too. Like, if he didn't tell people to raise their hand...
I don't think anybody even knew what was happening. It wasn't like that I did anything, like, right, or that he did something, like... It was just, everybody was sitting there thinking, why is this such a big deal? Nobody, that was the awkward part. But that's one group chat story that will stick with me forever. And at that time I was freaking out because I was like, I didn't mean, I'm a good person. I don't mean to be a mean, you know. And then I started freaking.
My guy right here, and now you're making this happen.
Yeah. And then so I'll remember that forever. But now it's just kind of funny. I just think it's funny. But it was an interesting scenario.
You know, it's amazing. It's hard enough. Yeah, it's hard enough to get a message across in this game sometimes, especially when you get those many minds mixed into it. But, you know, the one bit of advice that I think goes very much in hand with what you've mentioned is, especially in texting communication, there's a very limited interpretation when all you're doing is reading. And especially when sarcasm runs at an all-time high, when people are asking, where's the key to the batter's box? Where's the left-handed curveballs? All of these jokes that you might share with somebody that's new, or whatever pun exists within your narrow scope. You take care, you get rid of the human element of face-to-face interaction, and now you're making all of those things without those channels of interpreting the message, just because you're reading it in a text message. So the one thing I encourage people is be mindful of that. That can also be a fun thing, too, because maybe somebody doesn't know that you're being serious, but don't do it to hurt anybody, all right? Not that we want to hurt anybody's career. There might be good intentions involved, but, you know, as long as you work diligently to make sure that you're being a kind-hearted human, and then you're willing to have a good, lighthearted fun with it, it's one of the most memorable things that exists, and I really do think it unifies teams for the better. So I can think of a couple other horror stories that have existed within different subsets. I will say this, now that I'm a couple years removed from my playing career, one of the biggest things that I miss is the mass group chat. So enjoy it while you're in it. In the meantime, we're going to enjoy a short little break here on episode 21. We're going to rehash all the different memories that we've had on group chats during our little hiatus commercial here. We'll return back with some good content. Thank you so very much for watching. He's Evan Johnson. I'm Justin Wick. This is The Night Pitch. Known to the coveted many as the Immaculate Grid. We're here to do one live. For home runs, Jimmy Fox would be a candidate.
Jimmy Fox. Leave it to Wick to know these names. All right, we're going to send it on 300 average.
If this is wrong, I'm going to cry.
All right, 3%. So the Pirates and the Mariners.
Oh my goodness. I don't think Andres Munoz was. I don't know why that name came to mind. I don't think that's one.
That's a good one, though. I'm trying to figure out where he started. I like the Munoz choice for some reason, I'm also doubting it a lot.
Do you want to put Tommy Malone in on the top left? We can get that one done.
I'm just going to tell the viewers right now, I want to take a chance on Tommy Malone. Come on. Be Tommy Malone. Yes!
No, we don't actually
1%.
know.
We have one guess left, one box left. We need a for sure choice. I would be comfortable going with Munoz.
I mean, hey, I'm not really comfortable, but I'm not going to stop you. Munoz is the only one that I got.
He's only been playing since 2019, so it's pretty short. But in my mind, my memory says Padres. Or sorry, my memory says Pirates. Actually, no. It does say Padres. Hey, he was Padres. He's for sure Padres.
All right, we're going to have to do LaTroy Hawkins then.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It is time for one of our favorite things to do. Roll the clip. Let's do it.
Immaculate grid time.
It's time. I'm going to really lean on your Cardinal expertise. For those that don't know, Evan, you grew up in Gilbert, Iowa. Grew up a dear St. Louis Cardinals fan. For those of you looking for St. Louis Cardinals fandom, go back into the history of the Night Pitch episodes. Find the one with Easton Johnson. Fantastic discourse about the 2006 St. Louis Cardinals World Series Championship, how the Johnson household handled that one. Evan, I'm going to need your help on the middle column with that STL right there.
That's the only column that I feel very confident with.
Oh, well, good. All right. So we're good. Okay.
So if you have the rest, we're chilling.
Yeah. The right side, the only one team. I know that there are some very diligent followers of the Arizona Fall League that tune into the Night Pitch. The reason that I know the only one team is because of the Arizona Fall League media guides that I got to put together once upon a time, and a lot of very newcomer players that have only maybe played a handful of games for those three teams. Feeling really good about that one. The Phillies column, heavy on the NL East ties here.
Yeah.
Also, do we need to explain what the Immaculate Grid is for people that don't know? I'm sorry. Quick footing, 10-second detour. You got to find one player for all 9 boxes on this grid that checks out. So the top left box, that means that player has to have played at least one game for the Washington Nationals and the Philadelphia Phillies. If you go to the top right, for example, that means the only one team they can play for in their entire career is the Washington Nationals. So that is the subset that we're looking for. We're trying to find one player that corresponds to each of the left and the right for all 9 boxes. I'm going to look really good if we start with either the left or the right column. You're going to look really good if we start with the middle column, because I've been the one talking the most. Let's start with the middle column. Let's knock it out.
Okay. Here's the thing, though, is I preface this with I know, but then I go to Nationals and Cardinals, and my mind just immediately goes boom.
We don't need to start
one
there.
thing I want to put a highlight on, too, here is there's this button here that just says give up. Who gives up?
Button.
Like, who just doesn't use their guesses? Who's just, like, has 5 guesses left and is just I'll just give up.
Well, and that's the thing. I know that we mentioned this when we've done the grid before. Who are the players like Kenny Lofton or LaTroy Hawkins, the players that have played for like 31 of the 30 major league teams? Who are the ones that you go to on that? Oh, dear.
Okay, Mets, Cardinals, my first thought's Beltran.
Yeah, that one. That's an easy one. Also, for people that are unfamiliar with Immaculate Grid, you get a rarity score, as in like how rarity. So you get a percentage attached to each name. This will be easier to illustrate once we put a name down. So let's go ahead and put one name down. On the top right, only one team, Washington Nationals, Lucius Fox.
Lucius.
Lucius.
Lucius Fox, 2022.
Lucius Fox. Let's go.
Right.
There it is. Dude. Run it.
Good work.
So as you can see, we have a tremendous percentage to get this one started. I was waiting for the most opportune time to throw that name on there. My enthusiasm for the remainder of the grid is going to go exponentially down. Heads up. Anyways, as you can see, very small percentage of people that participated in this grid said Lucius Fox, as reflected by a very small percentage in the top right corner of that box. If, for example, we said the bottom right, Kansas City Royals only one team. I will bet virtually everything I have that George Brett will be the leading selection for that box. So many people tuning in, that one stands out. George Brett played an 87-year career, whatever it was, with the Kansas City Royals. That's going to have a very high percentage because people know that about him. He's a Hall of Famer. He spent it all with one team. So the key is you're trying to not only find players that correspond with each box, but you're trying to find a really rare player that hits this off. Evan, you talked about the athletic trainers for the Mariners when you were with the Mariners would just rattle through this in like 30 seconds with some of the craziest scores ever.
Oh, yeah. They knew all the in-betweens, all the people who had been in rehab and out and all that.
Man. Well, this might be easier if we start on the only one team because I've got some of the abstract ones, and this will get us off the board with some pretty good.
Yeah, you need to give me time to think. You just ripped the only one team.
Yeah. Man. So the bottom right, Nate Eaton is an outfielder. He is an outfielder. He pitched an inning, and he made pretty big headlines on MLB Network for I think he hit 91 on the bump. Very quick looking, like we talked about traditional body types for players. This dude looks like a center fielder. I mean, he's also pretty built too. But Nate Eaton, Eaton. He's been in the league for a year or two. I really hope that he didn't get picked up at a trade deadline or something.
So you're confident in this?
Yes. As I sweat bullets on the inside.
So this is the part of the show where I just watch Wick absolutely crush this grid, and I provide little to no rarity scores other than Carlos Beltran. Please do it though, because I don't need my lack of player knowledge to destroy this.
I have a very limited skill set on this grid in certain forms. The only one team, I crush it. I dominate these ones. All right. Only one team. You could go with David Peterson. He's a starting pitcher for the Mets. But I believe he was selected in the 2019 draft, so he's been around for a decent while. He pitched pretty well in the playoffs this year, too. You could do Brett Beatty, who is a third baseman, pretty high prospect for him. Now he's their starting third baseman. You could do David Wright. Is David Wright in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Wow.
That was the heart of the era we grew up with, David Wright and Roy Oswalt and all these NL just borderline Royd era dudes.
The pitchers there. Goodness gracious. Brett Beatty is probably going to get the lowest, but I don't know if people know his. I would feel very comfortable going Brett Beatty, Baty. I want to pick somebody more rare. Let's just book it on this. I know this one's going to be correct.
Okay.
As I'm feverishly concerned if he got traded. There we go.
All right. Nice.
All right.
6%. I mean, you're actively just crushing it right now. So.
Oh, jeez.
I just can't. It's hard for me to sit and think about this middle column and not be engaged on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I
mean, Beltran's the one that's gonna stick. Also, I'm getting all the Molinas mixed up. Benji, Jose, and Yadier.
Yeah.
I keep thinking, all right, well, Yadier checks the Cardinals box, but now I'm going, where do the other Molina brothers fit into the fold?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Phillies Nationals, the obvious one is Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Phillies and
then
Mets.
Matt Stairs. Zach Wheeler is going to be one of those for a pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are some two pretty low-hanging fruits, I think. If we did Harper top left and then Zach Wheeler middle left.
Are we trying to fill it out or risk it for the biscuit for rarity?
Because
we're trying to fill it out. Honestly, I feel like we can do it, but if we're trying to go rarity.
Yeah, that's the thing. If somebody's watching this with zero audio right now, they think we just suck.
Even if they're watching it with audio, they're like, I know all these guys. There's people that I know that just destroy the grid, and I'm just like, I can't.
There's somebody on the other side of the screen right now. Just figure it out. Let's go.
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh dear. All
Royals
right.
Cardinals is tough.
Yeah, and that's interesting too because I mean, you would think didn't David Freese have a short stint with the Royals?
He may have. Well, I don't know
Um,
why my mind goes to one of the Encarnacion outfielders from when I was a kid.
yeah. It was like
But maybe
John
I just
Jay
because
one.
I went to a Cardinal game at Kauffman.
Oh,
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's
Oh,
why
so,
it
so
stuck
then
to
you
me.
start, yeah,
It
you start
starts-
creating association. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's funny you say that. I just said John Jay as a Cardinal, and I don't know if that's because I remember him as an Angel at Coors Field, and that was an interleague matchup when the only red I was accustomed to seeing was either the Diamondbacks or the Cardinals at Coors Field as the National League opponents.
When I was a
John Jay
kid,
played for the Cardinals, right?
John Jay played for the Cardinals.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he the Royals guy?
I don't know.
When
He
I was a kid,
bounced
when I went
around
to
a
that
lot.
game, Royals Cardinals, I had the Napoleon Dynamite dance. No, I knew it.
Let's
I
go.
knew the whole thing.
The Jamiroquai Can't Heat joint going on.
The Napoleon Dynamite dance, and they put on the Jumbotron the Napoleon Dynamite dance, see if you can do it. And I was like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old. And they had me on the Jumbotron the whole time because I just matched his. And then that dude, then the outfielder, it wasn't Edwin, Juan Encarnacion, threw us a ball. We were standing right, but we were sitting by that fence. So I was on the
right, how
Jumbotron for
long have I
Napoleon
known
Dynamite,
you?
and they got a ball.
I've known you for how many years, and you've never told me this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like this would be one of the first things you would tell people when they meet you.
I was a 9-year-old doing the Napoleon Dynamite dance. Perfect. To the screen at the big video board, dude. To the screen, perfect. And Juan Encarnacion threw me a ball.
Speaking of the idea of the abstract, is there universal consciousness through all of us? On my way home yesterday, I was listening to that song, thinking to myself, how cool would it be just to be able to break out that dance on command? Like, that literally crossed my mind. I know exactly where I was on my commute home yesterday, thinking those exact words.
Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Recency bias.
Look at you, dude. We're getting technical, man.
Okay, so
we
anyways,
didn't even communicate that either. Yeah, all right. We need to put one on the board.
back to the grid,
Let's
I
put
guess.
one on the damn board. Matt Stairs would be Royals and Phillies.
I love it.
I don't know if it's him or Dan Straley. Oh, I'm kind of.
What would you rather go with?
I would rather go with
Career, it's a
Stairs.
pretty good bet.
Yeah, I think Matt Stairs is going to check that one. I'm so scared. Just hit it. I'm scared. Oh, thank goodness. You got
You're
an
with
A's hat
it.
on in that photo?
The Mark
What
McGuire
was that
doppelganger,
percent?
dude.
Ooh.
Even an A's
He
guy.
kind of does. Good grief. All right.
Mets, Phillies.
Well,
That
so
one's
we got 6 out of 9 if we count the top left and the middle left. Okay.
It's like you would think I would be better at pulling from my memory bank of when I was a kid, but I keep thinking of recent players.
Yeah, Jonathan Papelbon would be top left, I believe.
Oh, that's not bad.
I know he was a Red Sox. I remember him having it. Oh, this is a tough one though because I remember him and Bryce Harper got into it in the dugout. I think that was with Nationals. And now I'm getting a lot of red confused because I see him in the Nationals jersey. I see him in the Red Sox jersey. Is that creating bias? Was he with the Phillies? We're going to have to stay after the grid's over to go over all of these selections that we thought about.
See if they're there. The Mets and the Cardinals, man. I haven't done any help with the middle at all. There's been no help with the middle.
Oh, dear. That's part of the fun of it, though. Oh, dear.
I can get you one that I know is going to be there, but maybe not a good percentage.
You want to just run Beltran in the middle? I mean, I'm not going to get any for Mets Cardinals, so let's just put Beltran there.
Okay, that's our. Well, let's just wait a second while I think about it a little bit. Let's just wait a minute while I think about it for a second.
Oh dear.
There's one that's got to be ridiculous that I'm just forgetting.
Yeah. LaTroy Hawkins played with the Nationals, I know. And he played with the Mets. Kenny Lofton played for the Mets.
And the Phillies?
I don't know. Can we just Zach Wheeler, middle
Where?
left? What's the Mets and Phillies? Zach Wheeler, Zack. There we go.
Good deal.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just looking for CG here, not necessarily looking for a 21K
Yeah,
game.
we
You know
got
what I
to
mean?
fill them out. Yeah. So you want to just throw Harper on the top left?
Well,
Check a box. Well, I mean, we got a ways to go. Yeah, yeah. All right. We got to hunker down. We got to get serious here with the Midwestern flair.
oh, the Nationals are so recent that it's like you would think you'd be able to
That's
think of
true.
a name that would be
Yeah.
because it's like
Well,
they
who was the
started being a
closer?
thing when we were born.
Yeah, it was '06 was the first year of the Nationals. That's actually fascinating. Goodness, the White Sox won the World Series in '05, and the Nationals weren't even around. Good grief.
I can't believe that they were the Expos when I was alive.
I know. Like, how crazy is that, too? Like, to associate that. Remember when the Marlins used to wear teal, too?
Yeah, they need to get back to
Yeah.
that. They need to get back to that.
Oh, dear. Yeah, they got a little electric blue flare going, but I do miss the old school teal.
The rebranding to the probably one of the most notorious brand logos or jerseys or anything of any sports team
Yeah.
for like just a brief period.
Jeez. Well, and that was like the Jose Fernandez era orange that they had for a while when Stanton was there. Marlins have had 2 refreshes and like a that's cool. All right, we got to get serious here. Mike Matheny, bottom middle manager. Do managers count?
It's actually a good thought. Do they count?
Yeah, you can if you click on the Cardinal logo or if you hover your cursor over the Cardinal logo, as now everybody knows Evan's the one typing them in. If you hold it there or click on it, I think it'll pop up. Oh, it only shows the teams. Oh, okay.
Well, right here, players must have played in a regular season or playoff game for the team to qualify. Played.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Nationals, Cardinals. Come on, man. There's somebody.
Drew Storen was the closer for the Nationals for a while. A reliever, kind of obscure, had to have bounced around, I'm sure.
I'm thinking of a hitter.
Yeah. Was there like a dedeline pickup? Like the 2011 era Cardinals?
That's
when
what
the
I mean
Nationals
when they
maybe
went to the
weren't doing so
playoffs.
well? Yeah.
There's got to be somebody. That team was like Lance Berkman,
Yeah. There
David
had to have
Freese,
been.
Albert Pujols. Did David Eckstein play for the Nationals?
Oh, but yeah. I think.
I think he did.
I think he did too. I think he did. You feeling it?
I just want to see, honestly,
Yeah. I mean.
because this might be my. Hey, I contributed a good one.
Oh dear. Are you feeling good about it?
Yeah,
All right. Let's do
maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Scared now. Rip it. Nope, I suck.
Oh!
Dang
it! We are tarnished. We are no longer Lily White on this show.
Okay, so now we just shoot for the moon for everybody.
Yeah,
Dang it,
that's
dude.
true.
This is my column. Literally, the first one I put in sucks.
Well, do we need to save face though? Because like, all right, our rarity score because of Lucius Fox and Nate Eaton is going to be great.
That's what I mean.
Also, I feel like this grid, at least the right column, was hand selected for me. Like I said before, that is what I dominate on this. So this is not a reflection on I am better than Evan at this. As a matter of fact, historically speaking, when we have done these, Evan, you have single-handedly carried the torch multiple times.
That's just not true. That's just not true.
No. I can get you ballparks and I can get you logos, but the players start to get a little murky for your boy.
That's what the players get murky for me. The Mets and the Cardinals.
You could run. I really want to try Jonathan Papelbon top left, to tell you the truth, for Phillies Nationals.
I love it.
We're just doing it. This is part of the challenge of this, because you hit this point in every grid that you're just like, oh no.
So for sure, let's roll it.
I don't know if it's a for sure, but we're rolling on the same rationale we did before. Let's go!
So Wick's telling just take a second to just look at where we're at with the grid right now. Wick's like, yeah, you're pretty good at this, man. You got the middle column for sure. Well, we got 2 guesses left in 3 spots, and they're all in the middle column. We tried one, it didn't work.
Do you know if LaTroy Hawkins played for the Cardinals?
No idea, man. I don't know. I got people in my mind like Colby Rasmus and John Jay.
Oh, did Colby Rasmus play for the Royals?
In my head, he may have.
Or is that Cody Ransom?
But here's the thing about Colby Rasmus. I shared this in a different episode. I almost asked Tony La Russa as like a 10-year-old kid when I saw him in a restaurant in St. Louis why they traded Colby Rasmus. And my parents got mad at me for wanting to ask that. They wouldn't let me go do it. But I don't remember who he traded him to.
Could you imagine going up to La Russa, sharing that, and then he just absolutely lights you up as a 10-year-old?
As a 10-year-old kid.
I don't know if he would or not. I'm not trying to defame the guy. I'm just posing this as a consideration. He could either be really tasteful or I don't know how he would. Maybe we're gonna need Tony La Russa on the show to set the record straight for how he would handle that.
So I'm absolutely just folding on the center column right now. And David Eckstein played for another team. I swear he did, and I swear it was the Nationals. And I'm gonna go and check it, and I'm gonna be right, and the grid's gonna be wrong.
Oh dear. All right, just put Beltran in the middle. Get you a win here.
Yeah,
let's get you a little something. All right, there you go.
Man, I'm good, dude. There you go. I'm so good. Go. Yep, chilling now. I'm great.
We got 8. All right.
Royals, Cardinals, or Royals or Nationals, Cardinals? What are we thinking?
I feel pretty good. LaTroy Hawkins top middle.
No way.
I think so. Yeah, because he was with the Rockies for a short bit, and I think I remember seeing him in a lot of National League games. He probably saw him in a lot of American League games too. Man,
1970. Did Vince Coleman play for the Royals?
Maybe.
See, that's not. See, I don't see. I know. Let's go.
Oh dear, no, I don't know. This is just my. I need to let the viewers know at home. This is what I resort to when I'm just clueless. Is I resort to a dude that I know played for this many teams.
Oh, okay. So you're not like LaTroy Hawkins for sure.
No, I'm fairly certain he did play for the Cardinals though. So I feel like there's at least a dependable move if we went with.
Yeah. Royals, Cardinals, Michael Wacha.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Is that
he
it?
was with the Royals, right?
Dang it! See, as soon as I'm like in my head, I'm like, yes, that's it. And as soon as you say that,
put him down. Put him down. Why not?
Dang it!
I'm scared. Well, we only get one guess, so I guess we got to pick the lesser of two evils here.
What?
Wacha.
Yeah, there you go.
If we should do a spelling bee
of players.
Yeah, that actually would be good. All right.
Yastrzemski.
All right, are we doing it? Oh, I might be able to get that. PRZ.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you know what? Here we go. Why not?
All right, we got
Let's
it. Let's go.
Yes. You did pretty good. That'll work.
Dang it, I
All
failed
right.
it. I failed this, dude.
All right, so hang on. What were the ones? We need to pull up the resources here, and we were gonna check out John Jay, right?
Larry Walker. Dang
Larry
it, dude.
Walker.
That was
Really? Oh, they are counting him as an expo.
Oh, we picked Carlos Beltran for the right box, man.
Yeah. All right. That'll work. Yeah.
David Eckstein
The
is on
average
this list.
6.1. All right, let's check this out. John Jay was the candidate that we had. We thought he might be a National and a Cardinal. Is that right?
Rick Ankiel, Nationals, man. Dang it.
Oh, dear. John Jay, Cardinals, Padres, Cubs, Royals. So John Jay would have checked the Royals and the Cardinals box.
You had it there.
Man, that's all right. I mean, you got walk on that one too, though, so that's pretty good.
All right.
Lucius
So
Fox.
not too terrible, huh? We did all right.
That's a valiant effort right there. I think that we'll take it. I think that, you know what?
Wait,
you
what's
win
the
some,
rarity
you lose some.
score?
It is what it is.
151.
151. And we're this late in the day. For those of you that are tuning in, we are recording at, goodness, Evan, you got to get to bed. It's 10:24 in Youngstown, Ohio. Currently 7:24 in sunny Sacramento, California. Just kidding. Sun's down.
We have a big time change between the two of us.
I know, man. We're just covering all the bases right here. The night pitch is, we have to really make sure we plan this out to ensure it's the night pitch, because the sun's coming down a lot later here than it is where you are. So I can confirm this is the night edition of the night pitch. Based on
we might have a couple different guests popping up on the show here in the next couple days.
That's right. We've got some very cool clientele. I can confirm this. You know, part of the joys, and this is part of the joy of having a very well-traveled co-host, is that we've been able to meet a lot of different people throughout the ranks of baseball, both through the college ranks when we played together, of course, Evan through the professional ranks as a player, now back in the college ranks as a coach. Of course, myself in the professional ranks as an employee. It's really cool to be able to integrate the different walks of life that we've continued to immerse ourselves in. And the reason that we wanted to have this show is to really highlight the platforms of not just the player voices, but a lot of different people that go into it. So very happy to be back on the board. 21 episodes. No person I'd rather do it with than the man himself, Evan Johnson, of course. Guests to come. Very happy that you're along for the ride. Feel free to let us know all of the Immaculate grid selections that we should have put together. I think you and I could do one for our own career. We could do this just an inside joke.
Yeah.
Players, I'll make one for you. We don't need to put this on the air, but I encourage people, think out of the box. And on top of that, in the words of the wise sports psychologist, H.A. Dorfman, live from the inside out, not from the outside in. That just came to my mind. I don't know why I brought that up. Good stuff to live by. I felt like we needed to inspire the people after we just played around playing a grid right there. So
that's a good one.
We're going to keep living from the outside in, giving this to you people. I'm sorry, from the inside out. Wow. Do we need to edit that in post-production? No, we're just going to. We're going to keep living from the inside out to you guys, as long as you guys keep projecting all the good stuff into the world. Evan, you got a good final thought for us?
We'll see you soon. Got some good guests coming. Happy to be here. I had fun.
Absolutely.
I hope you did.
Enjoy yourself. Absolutely, man. It's good to be back on the board. Keep being good people out in the world. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. He's Evan Johnson. I'm Justin Wick. This has been episode 21 of The Night Pitch.
So here's to life and every joy it brings. So here's to